the foreword of Fadail of Tabligh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tahmaduhu wa nasalli la Rasulih Kareem. Firstly, I give thanks to Allah, who has enabled me to write this booklet on Tabligh. One of the renowned Muslim scholars of this age advised me to select a few ayat of Al-Quran and some sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on Tabligh and explain them. Since my humble service is to such sincere believers as can be a means of my salvation, I present this useful pamphlet to every Islamic school, Islamic association, Islamic government, rather, to every Muslim, and request them to serve the cause of Tabligh. In fact, during this age, there is a day-to-day decline in our commitment to religion, and objections against our true faith are raised not only by disbelievers, but by present-day Muslims. The Fard and Wajib observances practices are being neglected, not only by the common Muslim but by those who hold important positions. Millions of Muslimin have indulged in clear false worship, not to speak of neglecting prayers and fasting, yet they are never conscious of their practices being against pure obedience to Allah. Yeah, you see all these people praying to Ali and Muhammad and all sorts of things and individuals. Exceeding the religious limits is very common, and making fun of religious beliefs has become a fashion of the day. That is why Muslim scholars have even begun to avoid common folk, and the result of this state of affairs is that ignorance about the teachings of Islam is increasing day by day. People offer the excuse that no one teaches them the religion of Islam with a keen interest, and the Muslim scholars have an excuse that no one listens to them attentively, but none of these excuses is valid before Allah. As a matter of fact, He will never accept the excuse of the common folk that they were ignorant about the religious matters. For to learn religion and to make a serious effort to get the knowledge of its practice is the personal responsibility of every Muslim. No Göbekli Tepe having a group of priests handle the religion for you. And, so many. In Cambodia, there's groups that do that too. Since ignorance of the law is no excuse under any government, then why should it be accepted by the master of all rulers? They say making excuses for crime is worse than crime itself. Similarly, the excuse of the scholars that no one listens to them does not hold good. They boast of representing the great spiritual leaders and divines of the past, but never consider how many troubles and hardships they suffered to preach the true religion. Were they not hit with stones? Were they not abused and oppressed to the extreme degree? But in spite of all these obstacles and hardships, they fulfilled their responsibilities about preaching, and they propagated the message of Islam regardless of any opposition. Generally, the Muslimin have limited Tabligh to the scholars only, whereas every Muslim has been commanded by Allah to prevent the people from doing forbidden things, even if we admit for a moment that Tabligh is the duty of Muslim scholars only who do not perform it properly. And it is the particular duty of every Muslim to preach Islam. The importance that has been laid on Tabligh by the Quran and the Hadith will be proved by the verses of the Quran and the sayings of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that are being quoted in the following pages. Therefore, you cannot limit Tabligh to scholars only, nor can it be an excuse for you to neglect the same. And I would request every Muslim to devote his time and energy to Tabligh as much as he can. And this poem here, I think this is Urdu. Consider it blessing a time at your disposal. For none knows what his end will be. Yeah, that's definitely not. Well, I know it's not Arabic again, but yeah, you need not necessarily be a perfect scholar to preach Islam and good moral values to humanity. Whatever little knowledge of Islam you possess, you must pass it on to others. Whenever anything is morally wrong or forbidden is done in your presence, then as a Muslim it is your duty to prevent it as far as lies in your power. I have described all the important things about a tabligh in 7 brief chapters, and I hope that every Muslim will benefit from them. Hafiz Muhammad Zakariyyah, Sheikh al-Hadith, Madrasa Zahir al-Ulum, Saharanpur. And I'm reminded, not terribly relevant to all this, but I'm reminded at the time where somebody had grabbed, not this bottle, but a different bottle of the contact cleaner for the computers and stuff, and it was one of those situations where you just don't say this is wrong. You needed to physically force the person to stop from hurting themselves with it. Yeah, I remember that clearly. And this person like passed out and fell in a previous incident where did this in front of someone, so it was necessary. But for the most part, we consider to ourselves this is wrong. We say that this is wrong. If people in this society just said, this is wrong, it would go a long way. And don't make it about your mere personal opinion either.